Welcome to the Labyrinth Mind podcast. Today we are going to talk about imposter syndrome, which has an impact on millions of us. Have you ever sat in a meeting, looked around the room and thought, I don't belong here? Or received a promotion and immediately wondered when someone was going to find you out? If you have, you're not alone. In fact, you're in incredibly good company. Today on the Labyrinth Mind, we're diving deep into a phenomenon that affects some of the most accomplished professionals across every industry, imposter syndrome. And I mean really deep. We're talking about a psychological pattern that impacts 7 out of 10 successful people. Yes, you heard that right, 70% of high achievers.
From Fortune 500 CEOs to groundbreaking scientists, from innovative tech entrepreneurs to award-winning artists, none of them are immune.
What if I told you that feeling like a fraud isn't a weakness? What if it's actually a sign of something much more profound about how brilliant minds work?
In the next few minutes, we're going to unpack the science, share personal stories, and reveal cutting-edge solutions that are helping professionals transform self-doubt into confidence.
We'll explore how imposter syndrome starts, why it's more common than you think, and most importantly, how to overcome it.
Get ready for a journey into the inner workings of the professional mind. This is the Labyrinth Mind.
Success and confidence. They go hand in hand, right? Well, a shocking new study shows that 70% of top performers secretly believe they're complete frauds.
That's such a surprising statistic. How can so many successful people feel that way?
You know what's fascinating about this? It's called imposter syndrome, and it was first identified back in the 1970s. The researchers thought it mainly affected high-achieving women, but now we know it's practically universal.
Well, that certainly explains a lot about the tech executive I interviewed last month. Multiple patents to their name, but constantly looking over their shoulder.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The Harvard Business Review found that these feelings can actually spread through entire organizations, like some kind of psychological virus.
Hold on, you're saying imposter syndrome is contagious? How does that even work?
Let me give you a perfect example. There was this software development team where the senior developers were so worried about being exposed that they created this ridiculously complex documentation system just to prove their worth. The company lost 3 months of development time because of it.
That sounds like an expensive way to deal with self-doubt.
Oh, you have no idea. Forbes estimates that burnout and stress, partly driven by imposter syndrome, cost businesses around £50 billion annually. But here's the really fascinating part. Companies are starting to fight back with some pretty innovative solutions.
I've been hearing something about online hypnotherapy. What's the story there?
Well, there are a significant number of business owners and executives that are skeptical. But the data is actually pretty compelling. The British Journal of Hypnotherapy followed over 200 professionals through virtual sessions, and after just 6 weeks, 85% reported significantly reduced self-doubt.
So, what makes the virtual format so effective?
You know what's interesting? Being in your own space actually makes people more receptive to treatment. Like, instead of lying on some stranger's couch, you're in your home office working with a therapist through video conferencing.
That must be making this kind of treatment more accessible to people.
Exactly, though it's not exactly cheap. You're looking at about £80 to £150 per session, typically needing 6 to 8 sessions. But here's the thing. Organizations implementing these programs report a 25% reduction in burnout rates, so the ROI makes it well worthwhile.
Those numbers actually make it sound like a pretty solid investment when you consider the alternative costs.
And that's what I find really fascinating about all this. We're seeing this fundamental shift in how organizations approach professional development. It's not just about skills anymore. We're finally addressing these deeper psychological barriers.
So, in a way, feeling like an imposter might actually be a sign you're pushing yourself to grow.
That's exactly right. And you know what the research shows? Simply acknowledging these feelings and talking about them openly can be the first step towards overcoming them. It's like shining a light on this shared experience we've all been having in isolation.
Well, that certainly changes how I think about my own moments of self-doubt.
And here's my takeaway from all this research. Feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you are one. In fact, if you're experiencing these feelings, you're probably in the company of some of the most successful and accomplished people in the world. Maybe that's not such a bad place to be after all.
Wow, that's powerful. Before we sign off, we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this episode of the Labyrinth Mind.
If these insights resonated with you, we'd love to hear your story. Reach out to us on our social media channels or drop a comment wherever you're listening.
And for those who want to dive deeper, make sure to subscribe and tune in next week. We'll be exploring another game-changing approach to professional and personal transformation.
Until then, remember, your mind is your most powerful tool. Keep shifting, keep growing. Thanks for listening to the Labyrinth Mind. Until the next time.